Welcome to Main Street Mavericks, celebrating conversations with exceptional Main Street businesses who serve friends and neighbors in your community. Here's your host, Joel Helfer.
Good afternoon. This is Joel Helfer with another episode of Main Street Mavericks Radio. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Ron Drummonds. Ron is a self-made millionaire investor. Ron has had a successful construction business, RKD Construction, for 27 years, and also is the managing director of RKD Investments, which invests in real estate, mortgages, hard money lending, as well as vintage autos and trucks. Ron likes to say that he has impressive credentials as a public High School Diploma award winner. Ron Drummonds is also now offering consulting and coaching services to small business owners as well as individuals looking to succeed in life. Good afternoon, Ron, and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you. Tell me a little bit about your new career. I understand you're phasing out of the construction business and you're moving into a different phase of life. What are you getting involved in these days?
That is correct. The construction business has been very good to me. I have no complaints, but I'm trying to do something a little different now. I've always been involved in real estate and investing. So I've got a few properties out there listed for sale, and I have done and completed, let's see, 3 or 4 subdivisions, a little bit of development, but now I'm just looking to buy and sell and also represent other people who would like to sell their properties.
What do you think today is some of the biggest misconceptions people have when they go to sell their home?
As far as their home, right now, as long as you price it realistically, you're going to be fine. I think a lot of people think their homes are worth a lot more than they were. We've had a real great bounce back from our recession/depression, and home prices have gone up very well, but the interest rates are starting to creep up just a little, and I think that may cut into the pricing a tad.
Do you get involved more in commercial than you do residential?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't do hardly any residential other than my role as a hard money lender to these gentlemen that are flipping homes. I loan them the money, and they do the residential. I really don't buy and sell residential. I'm more of a commercial. That is correct.
Well, that's interesting. When you say hard money lending, what's the difference between hard money lending as opposed to other types of lending?
In my definition, hard money lending is where they need money quickly, not a lot of documents. I loan them the money within a 24-hour period if I like the deal. And it's short term, it's usually 6 months or less. And it's for a flip. It's not long-term financing.
I follow you. And what do you use as collateral, the home?
Yes, I hold first mortgage position. Also, when I do these loans, the people that are borrowing the money from me, they have to put in their money to rehab the property. So they also have, as they say, skin in the game.
Do you have any particular markets that you like to work in or parts of the country that you find more advantageous than others?
I'm a little bit protective, so I only lend money in the Florida market, and right now Tampa/Orlando is probably our heaviest market. I don't venture too far out.
Yeah, because I understand that those are real active markets now. It seems like they're building all over the place. What do you attribute that to? Is it local money or is it foreign money that's coming into this area?
No, that's a good question, Joel. I would say the Orlando market has a lot more foreign money in it than the Tampa per se, because you have so many tourists coming through there, and there's a lot of timeshare type properties too. And the Airbnb entity has also caused a lot of more investors to try to pick up properties and rent them out on a nightly basis as opposed to an annual basis. But the Tampa market is doing real well too. I think Tampa market, in my opinion, is a little more stabilized, not quite as transient as the Orlando market, just my opinion.
Is that because of the tourism in Orlando, where people just come and go on a shorter term basis?
Yes, I think so. Now, you get some of that on the beaches on the West Coast also, but I just think the Orlando market is much more transit, like you said, the short-term rentals in and out. So investors buy those and rent them out to family and so forth and so on.
I see you've won a lot of awards when you were in different phases of your business. The Tampa Bay Business Journal awarded you one of the 50 fastest ranking business in 2013. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to be on that list twice. As a matter of fact, I never really would apply for awards and things like that in probably the first 15, 18 years of business. And that's, a lot of people say, well, what awards have you won? What have you awards won? I just never thought of it that way. So I started applying for certain awards, Qualified Remodeler Magazine Award, won that several years, the Fast 50 Award through another remodeling magazine. We was in the top 50 there also with the Tampa Bay Business Journal. Actually, the one year we came in number 2 out of the top 50, so that was pretty exciting. Kind of shocked me. I wasn't aware of that. We just had a nice 3-year growth period in there, and we were able to come in at number 2. That was some good publicity for us.
Was that able to help you grow your business?
I don't think, I can't really say it helped us grow our business, but it made people more aware of us. I did most of my construction business over the years with a little niche market. I did office buildings and retail buildings, but my niche market was banking centers. I remodeled, rehabbed, and performed facility maintenance services on banking facilities for 20-something years. It was kind of just like a little niche we had there. But now the banking industry, as you know, has changed quite a bit.
Yeah, I know at one time they were building branches like crazy. I remember when Bank of America, they couldn't build them fast enough.
Yeah, Bank of America used to be my number 2 client. We did work for Barnett, Bank of America, Regions Bank, Bank Atlantic, SunTrust, several banking centers over the years.
And what do you think? They just built too many of them? Is that the reason why they stopped building them? Because I know a lot of them, at one point in time, they had a lot of banking centers, and it seems like in the last couple of years, there are less and less of them. They're harder to find now than they used to be.
Yeah, not only the attrition taking over other banking centers, but the fact that a lot of the banking centers don't really want you to even come to the branches. They want you to do online, telephone, or the internet. So they're going to more modular. Some of these branches have drive-thrus that don't even have tellers at the drive-thru. It's just a video. So
I know it's like the old-fashioned days when we used to like to take our checks to the bank on Friday.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, or a lot of employees who work for me, they get their check at 3:30 or 4 o'clock on Friday, and first stop on the way home was at the bank to cash the check.
Yeah, the generation of my children are growing up, and they don't even carry cash with them. They have debit cards. I always say, hey, you got $10? I don't have any money on me. I always have debit cards. So they don't even use cash.
How the world has changed, and now they don't even carry cash anymore, or just a little bit, because sometimes you run into a situation where you need a few bucks in your pocket,
That's what I said. I mean, it's ironic. I probably installed or did the construction on 200 ATM machines throughout my career, and I've never used an ATM machine.
I know that's the old-fashioned way, or you go back even further, which is even funnier, is when you used to have to carry a pocket full of change because the only way you could talk to someone was find a telephone booth.
Yeah, you can hear the old 60s songs. Put another dime in the jukebox or another quarter in the phone. You don't say those anymore.
And I talk to, like, my kids, and they say, they say to me, Dad, what is a telephone booth? We never saw one.
That's where Superman changes clothes.
How the world has changed. It's not even funny. What are your projections for real estate in the coming year or two? How do you see it? What do you think is going to happen with all the things that are going on in the world today?
That's a good question. 2017 should be pretty good, actually, as long as the Fed don't raise interest rates too fast. And with the new administration coming in, they seem to be pro-business and trying to lower the tax rate. If that's good and it's going to happen, that would be excellent for the real estate business. It's a good place to put money in it, and the leverage is great. And if the rates stay low, it should have some pretty good growth. I don't see anything crazy, but I see a little steady climb unless something tragic happens.
Well, hopefully it's all going to be well, and I never worry too much about the politicians because my favorite comment is I'm still waiting for the first one to call me up and say, hey, Joe, I got a good deal for you.
We know who the good deal's for.
Tell me a little bit about your venture into vintage and collectible automobiles. That sounds very interesting to me.
Yeah, I've always liked muscle cars, old trucks. I own a couple now, and I've just started dabbling in that the past 2 or 3 years, and I really like it. As I mentioned to you before, I'm going to the Mecum auction in Kissimmee. I've been there 3 days already, and I'll be going back the next 2 days. I'm trying to educate myself on pricing and different details on vehicles, but I would like to probably start a little small business, buying and selling those, and also having fun driving them, kind of like a hobby business type thing. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I understand they sell a lot of cars that used to be real cheap and now are kind of pricey,
Most definitely. A lot of those cars, I meet a lot of gentlemen out there at the places. I had one of those and only had 500 in it. I had 2,000 in it, and now they're like 200,000. So, yeah, you have to know what you're doing, though. You could get hurt real easy out there.
How does that work when you auction those? Do you have to put up a certain amount of money just in order to bid? How do those auctions actually work?
Well, the particular Mecum auction, they require you to sign up and bring out a check. You leave them a blank check out there, and you're supposed to bring a letter authorizing the amount of funds you think you may or may not spend. So you get a bidder's package, and then when the cars run, you bid on whatever you want to get. And then if you're the successful bidder, you go and write the check for it.
And that's it. And then do you actually drive the car out of there that day, or do they ship it wherever you want it to go? How does that work?
It's your responsibility to take it from the site, so you can drive it or have it trailered, but once you pay for it, the car is your responsibility. And they usually want it out of there within 72 hours.
I got it. And they give you the title and the whole bit right on the spot.
Yep, you get the title right there. Matter of fact, I've sold cars at Mecum before, and I take my vehicle out there, I pay a fee to put it in the show, and then I bring a title to them, and they hold the title. And if it doesn't sell, I get all that information back. And if I sell it, it's right there. We sign it over, and I'm paid 24 hours.
I'm just curious. How much commission, or what do they charge as a fee for making the transaction?
That's a good question. Now they've changed it a little bit this year. If you put an auto in the show for sale, there is a slot price you pay depending on what day you put it in there. Later in the week, the price goes up. And it's like $500 if you're in there like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday the first week. And then as you get down to Friday and Saturday, the last 2 days, those are the very expensive cars, which, as you know, brings in a lot of money there. So you can pay up to $15 for a slot. And then you pay 10% when you sell it. You have a 10% commission on top of the sales price.
Oh, that's how I was always curious how much it was. They charge, their cut's 10%.
Right. And now, if you put the car in there with a no reserve price, it is a less percentage. If there is a reserve on it, they charge you 10%. But if you put no reserve, I think it may be 5% or something like that.
Yeah,
that means you're going to sell it whatever the highest bid is.
Who pays that, the seller or the buyer?
Buyer pays. The buyer pays to put the car in there, and then the buyer pays the 10% on top of the car. It's added onto the car, and then the seller has to pay his fee, so they're trying to get it from both sides.
That's a pretty good deal.
Mm-hmm. But they bring a lot of people in, and they do a lot of marketing, and they bring a lot of wealthy buyers in. So you have the best eyeballs on the vehicles. So
you have to know your cars pretty well. You have to, or would you bring an expert with you sometimes to look at the engines, or do you know how to do that yourself?
I usually don't. If I was real serious about buying the high dollar ones, I probably would. But I go with 2 or 3 other friends that have some local knowledge and have knowledge of certain type cars. Some guys know a lot about Corvettes, some know about Camaros and so forth and so on. So we just kind of look them over real well, something we may be interested in, and then we buy like that. And there's no guarantee on anything you buy there. There's no warranty. Do you have a favorite car or favorite type of car that you're interested in? Not particularly. I have a 58 Chevy pickup at home now, and I love that truck. I do like the old trucks a lot. And I also have what's called a Panos Roadster, a very rare car. I thought about selling that this year, but I'll probably sell it next year. I'll keep it one more year.
Well, that's interesting. And how do you find your background in construction helps you with the real estate market? The good thing about the background in construction, if I see a property with a price on it, my mind automatically goes to what does it cost to build this property? Can I replace the property for this price? And, how much would it be just a vacant piece of land? And I can back a number into that. Matter of fact, I have a
interesting property listed for sale in the Tampa market. It's a church property, and it's an excellent buy. I started to buy it myself to keep it as an investment, but I look at the property, and I see the acreage, and I see the buildings on it, and I see what it's worth, and then I just do a calculation as far as what income it brings in, and that's how you come up with a number on it. Of course, you do a market analysis on it, see what everything else is selling for, but when you have a unique property, it's a little bit harder.
Is there a lot of competition when you're buying and selling homes on this basis? A lot of people bidding against you?
There is now. I have another investor local that goes to the foreclosure auction here in Lake County, and I'm the hard money lender for this particular person. And it's slowed down quite a bit here, and also a little bit in the Tampa market because everybody's trying to get into the game, and the economy has turned to the good side, so that cuts down on the number of foreclosures. So it makes it a little more difficult. You got to be a little more selective about what you're buying and at what price.
And then what do you hire people, or do you use your own subs in order to fix up the house and get it ready to sell again? How do you do that?
They use their own people. I don't do any construction. That's what's kind of ironic about it. I'm a general contractor and have my license since 1986, and I'm the lender for these guys, but I don't do any construction, so it's kind of nice. I don't have to clean it up or rehab it or tear it up. They find them, they rehab them, and I just loan them the money, and I get my return.
Well, that's a lot easier.
That's a lot easier, yeah.
Like, huh?
You're exactly right. It's a little bit of a different animal.
Well, and how long have you been doing this?
I've probably been doing that I did it off and on years ago before it became very popular, but I've probably been doing it the last 7 years and done pretty well with it. And
what do you spend a lot of time qualifying the people before you lend them the money to make sure that they can pay it back?
I don't. I've built up a relationship with probably a half dozen what I call investors that do this, and have done it for a while, and they're very good, and I have a very good rapport with them. My money is secured by the first mortgage on a home, so I'm safe there, and they're putting, $20,000, $30,000 of their money in there, so I'm pretty safe as far as not getting hurt on anything if I had to take it back. But they don't want to jeopardize the partnership we have, or the joint, it's not a joint venture, but they don't want to jeopardize the relationship we have, because they can call me, and 24 hours later, the money will be there for the home. You just can't get that anywhere. Plus, I don't require a lot of the paperwork that the banks do. So there's a level of trust on each.
They can make you crazy with the paperwork. What type of home purchases are involved, and how much money is involved? You don't have to divulge the exact amount, but are they high-value properties or medium-value properties? What are you looking for?
No, most of them are less than $200,000. We don't get up into the expensive ones because one mistake there you can get hurt. But anywhere from 80 to 250 in that price range, it's kind of the sweet spot because most people in America can afford those. If you get stuck with it, you can always rent one.
Well, that's interesting. So, in other words, the lower price homes are the ones that are more desirable for this type of an operation.
I think so, but I know some people that buy the larger homes, $700,000-$800,000 and fix them up and flip them. But it just says that I don't feel comfortable doing it because you're looking at probably 5% of the market can afford that home, and that 5% is a little bit more particular. Where I'd rather have a home that 95% of the market can afford it.
And how long, once you put it on the market, what's the approximate turnaround time?
Most of these are sold, purchased, rehabbed, and sold in 6 months or less.
Well, that's not bad at all.
From time to time, they're a little longer. I think I've only had 1 or 2 that went more than, like 10, 11 months. Sometimes you get held up with paperwork, Someone has to be evicted, or there's something tied up with the paperwork. And then you have certain laws about flipping for FHA rules. Things like that. It takes a little longer.
A lot of these foreclosures where people couldn't handle the payments, or living in there and didn't pay their mortgage or something like that.
Yeah, most of them are. We wait till the bank takes them back, or the lending institution, not necessarily banks, and then we go. They come up for foreclosure. Some of them are tax sales, but those are rare. I know a lot of people that invest in tax deeds and just collect money on the overdue tax. I've never done that, but I hear that's not bad either.
That's interesting. Is this something where you need a lot of money to get started in, or can you get started in it with a reasonable amount of money?
if you're the lender lending to other people, yeah, you need to have a pretty good chunk of money. If you're a guy just flipping it, you just start out with one or two. If you have any skills or you're any good at it, you just need to find a lender that has confidence in you, because I started out a couple of young guys helping them out. They flipped one or two. They didn't have any money up front, so I put the money up and let them flip it, but I kind of helped supervise that to make sure they knew what they were doing.
I get it. How many deals do you run at any one time?
It varies. Right now it's a little slow, but in a normal year, I usually got 35, 40 mortgages on the street.
Well, that's pretty good. So you need a license in order to do that? Mortgage license in order to do that?
No, it doesn't require a real estate license, nor does it require construction license, because you're not doing the construction. And I'm not a mortgage broker because I'm not lending to homeowners moving into a home. I'm just basically a bank, like lending to another business.
Oh, I get it. So you need a street smarts license.
You need that PHSD, Public High School Diploma. Or HKU, Hard Knocks University, either one of those.
Well,
fine.
It seems like it's taken you a long way in a good direction,
I have no complaints.
Have you always lived in Florida, or are you from a different part of the country?
No, actually, I was born in Orlando, Florida. I'm one of the few natives still around here, and I lived in Tampa for almost 30 years now. I'm back near Orlando, and I like it here. I like the weather. I like the lakes. I can play golf any day of the week, so I have no complaints. I visit other areas, but I love living here.
Yeah, it's a great area to live in, and most of the time the weather's really good, so you can play golf all year round, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've always done multiple streams of income, and so I try to teach my children this. Don't count on a paycheck, or I had 3 kids, or just one thing. I said, look, if you have multiple streams of income, if one stream dries up, if you got 6 or 7, you still have money coming in. It's too many people in America today that rely on one income. I go to work, I get a check. If that stops, where are you getting more money? You don't. You're out of luck. So I really preach to my kids multiple streams of income. There's a book out by Robert Allen who really goes into detail about that.
So you can't see from one source or another is bringing money in every week.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
The stock market could be up, could be down. Real estate could be up, it could be down. Rentals could be up, could be down. But if you got 7 or 8 things, my wife said, what happens if they all go bad at one time? I said, well, that's probably going to be the end of everything, so I'm not too worried about that.
So what would your recommendation be to a young person just starting out of college? How do they get more than one stream of income?
I just started out slow. I did just a brief little synopsis. I started out, I was a meat cutter for Winn-Dixie, working 50-something hours a week, and I sold real estate at night, and I had a lawn business on the side. So, I was hustling, so I didn't want to be poor all my life. So that was 3 streams of income right there. So if I lost my job as a meat cutter, I'd have a lawn care business. If the lawn care business didn't do good, I was selling real estate at night at 20-something years old, looking at microfilm. That's how long ago that was. So I just wanted to make sure there was something coming in all the time from somewhere, and I've carried that on throughout my life.
Well, that's very, very good advice. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you in order to use your services as a hard money lender or a financial advisor, how would they go about doing that?
They could call me or just send me an email. I've been doing some consulting for a couple of business guys around here locally and done some in the past. I took some training from a gentleman named Martin Howley out in Phoenix, Arizona for consulting. I consult with small business, but they can reach me at ron3434@hotmail.com, or my direct phone number is 813-363-2879. And I'll tell you, I really enjoy helping other people out that are trying to help themselves. If people are trying to hustle and get their business going or learn something or become financially set, I really enjoy doing that, because if everyone else is doing good or striving to be better, it helps us as a nation, as a country. You want everyone to pick themselves up. You don't want to beat someone down. If everybody does well and they're doing well, everybody else is going to do well. So I really enjoy doing that.
Well, that's real good words of advice and good words of wisdom. And for anybody listening to this, Ron is definitely someone you want to talk to if you want to get involved in real estate or construction or you need a little money to buy a home or something like that, Ron is definitely the guy to talk to. Ron, I thank you very much for spending a little time today with our audience at Main Street Mavericks Radio.
You've been listening to Main Street Mavericks Radio with Joel Helfer. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit mainstreetmavericks.com.